We live in a fairly dangerous low-level environment where we're operating well inside the dead man's curve. The Cabri just gives my pilots a much better chance of making it home alive at the end of the year.
It is difficult. You do have to have some situational awareness. You know, you're not only focusing on flying, you're focusing on cattle, where you want them to go, how much pressure you're putting on, the communication with the other pilot as well. Yeah, there's a whole heap of things you got to be thinking about.
G'day, I'm Charlie Rorsman. I'm the Chief Pilot at HMAir or HeliMuster NT, based in Katherine, Northern Territory of Australia. So we're currently going through a bit of a transition with the mustering fleet that we have, and we've just actually divested from our R22s. We were running up to 18 or 19 of them, and we're currently running 4 Cabris and looking to get a lot more for a number of reasons. The accounts people like them because they're cheaper to run, but from my perspective, from the chief pilot role, they're giving my pilots a much better chance of making it home alive at the end of the year. So for me, that's absolutely crucial. Sam's a pretty innovative and ballsy owner, so he was the one convincing us, but at the end of the day, it's not the first big transition that HeliMuster's had. You know, we've been operating for 49 years now, and we had the Bell 47s initially, and when the first Robbie turned up, people refused to hop in it, and look where we are now. Robbies are everywhere. So the Cabris was much the same. A couple of us who were probably a bit more in the perhaps aerosexual camp were a bit keener earlier, and it's been a slow burn, but everyone who's jumped in it has taken to them. There's a few differences that require training. The finestron tail is a little bit different to muster with, and probably doesn't have quite as much authority when you start losing RPM, if you start going into situations where you're pulling a lot of power. But the positives far outweigh any of the negatives that you can throw at it.
I'm Jeremy O'Brien, so I work for HeliMuster in the Northern Territory. Today we're mustering cattle on Killarney. Everyone reckons it's full on all the time, but a lot of the time it's cruising around trying to find cattle, working out the best way to move the cattle. But yeah, it does get busy sometimes, but we often operate 2 helicopters together and sometimes even 3. So yeah, communication is a massive thing. But yeah, you do get single jobs as well, there's only one. For example, today we're finished in 6 hours here, but you know, it can also take 8 hours, it can take 5. It's a high pressure situation when you're trying to put them in the yard. Sometimes you've got to get down and get close. When you've got something that's bailed up, you can't physically move them. So trying to find different tactics to get them up and to get them moving in the right direction, yeah.
My name's Nick Brisk. We're at Killarney Station doing the second round mustering here. It's my 2nd year here, 3rd year for HeliMuster. Usually here it's pretty tight calendar, I guess. We'll be mustering between 2 machines for a day. Coach mustering, they'll walk into the yard, get them in and process them the next day. Day after that we'll go again, get another lot of cattle, roughly about 1,000 each mob.
When you're flying around, you're focusing on one animal, but you've also got to be cautious of your surroundings, especially when you're moving into trees. It's exciting for sure. And you're constantly learning and challenging yourself. You can always be better.
Yeah, I think the mustering industry has changed for sure. It's not what people make it out for it to be. Most of the day it's slow, smooth and steady really. We're just here trying to get the cows to the yard as slow and steady as possible.
Right, I'm John Armstrong, I'm working for HMAir, and we're out here on Barimba Station, which is a part of Killarney, and that's part of the Jumbuck Pastoral Group.
Mustering with other machines, the most machines I've had in a paddock was 5 of us. Usually you only have to worry about the person next to you. So the situational awareness you get around that, knowing where the next guy is. Generally we set ourselves up so to make it easier for ourselves, there'll be a main marker like a creek, and I won't go across that creek at all unless I can see the other guy next to me and then tell him I'm doing that. So you see when people are yarding up, they'll swap sides, but they're always talking to each other. People don't see that when they watch the video cameras, so the communication's always happening. Between each pilot, so I'll come around you, I'll get that. If you've got the lead, or you might just have the better angle, then you'll dive in front of them, but they'll know you're coming, so you back out of the road. Always tell them where we are and where we're going, and they've got an out and we're not going to be in the road.
You can't take credit away from those old boys because they were better stockmen than I'll ever be. But a lot of what the audience sees is the hard, fast-paced stuff, but it's not necessarily. 95% of the day is slow, smooth, steady work.
cruising the machine along at minimum power settings, conserving as much fuel as you can and hardly moving it. And yeah, the style of mustering has definitely changed, as has the cattle in the stations as well though. Every now and then you still have to get in their face and try and move them, but it's definitely minimal nowadays.
Yeah, McLaughlin Pastoral Group, they're definitely guys that look into the future. I think they're looking what's next in this mustering industry and what's going to be the reliable machine. And they're willing to give these Cabris a go, which is great for us. It gives us a chance to test them out, I guess.
And they're pushing the safety aspect of us as well. These machines are much safer, I think, than flying around than the R22s. They're a tough little machine, no doubt. But if something goes wrong, I feel a lot safer flying around in this helicopter with a higher inertial blades and better auto rotational characteristics. I think they're just a much better way to go for the future. They're cheaper to run for us as well. These costs are always rising. We've seen astronomical parts prices increases since COVID. So this is the only way we can still do it and do it the right way, is to operate these machines.
Every job's different really. You might need to bring a pocket forward first that one fella has to grab and another fella has to hold the flank of that, or creek up in front of us might have to come backwards first. It's all just a puzzle as how a day might work depending on the country that you're doing.
It's what keeps us interesting, eh?
Knowing where you are in the paddock for sure, yeah, it's a skill that takes a lot of sharpening, I guess. But as Jeremy said, it's all your land features, you know. You've got a darker patch of bullwoody here or a patch of bloodwood country there, or you've got a lot of silver box timber around here, stuff like that. As you go, I find, you know, it takes me half an hour, 45 minutes at the start of the day to get my bearings and kind of settle into the paddock. Oh, rural Australia, no, it's beautiful. I love it. Yeah, it keeps the peace, keeps me sane, I guess. Get away from the chaos of the cities and the world. Yeah, living on Killarney, I think it's great. It's a real tight community, you know. I think there's about 20 of us there and people come and go and create a bond with everyone throughout the year, and they're your mate. It becomes a little family, really. Most of them stay for the year. You might get injuries and stuff like that. Stuff happens, but yeah, they might do a year, they might do 6, you don't know.
So what I enjoy most about working out here in the Territory is the freedom of life we have here. We're not constrained by too many people and too many rules. We're out here, we've got no one 60 miles around, so our job is the ultimate freedom, flying choppers and mustering cattle. We just don't have to deal with the everyday rat race that everyone else gets. No idea what's going on elsewhere in the world, and that certainly gives you a certain amount of peace that you don't get elsewhere as well. Spiders aren't a problem out here. There's a few snakes around, but the cane toads put paid to most of them. Reasonably warm, but we don't mind it. Just part of life out here.
I've been in the Cabri for about a month now, enjoying it so far. I grew up out of Catherine, and my father was a pilot. He owned some mustering machines, and turbines and whatnot. I spent most of my life around those mustering helicopters and with him out on the stations mustering as a kid. It's probably something I always wanted to do, so I've ended up in the same path as him, I guess. I still enjoy the mustering. I love it. It's my main focus, but yeah, there's definitely a future somewhere, I hope, in the turbines and fighting fires or something like that down the line, yeah.
We're camped out tonight. There's a muster going on tomorrow with 2 choppers here, and tonight just got the tent and the swag, or the bedroll for those who don't know. There's storms around tonight, so that should be interesting. Hopefully the tents don't get blown away.
Mustering the Cabri, I personally have probably got a lot less time than my pilots who've been spending the last over 12 months in them, mustering them, but they're really fun to fly in. They feel solid, they're really direct because of the 3-bladed system, and I've found pilots that are transitioning into our squirrels are actually jumping in a squirrel and flying them like they've got 150 hours in a squirrel under their belt, because they're quite similar in nature, whereas previously that jump was quite a large one, especially once you jump into the squirrel and then you're expecting someone to learn how to long line in a completely foreign machine. The transition's actually surprisingly small when they're coming from the Cabri. But in terms of mustering them, yeah, they're a lot of fun. Aside from the survivability in a crash and being designed to the latest standards, one of the things that really attracted us to the Cabri was the fact that you can't cheat hours on it. You know, we're all pretty aware of somewhat true allegations levelled at the mustering industry in the north, and we've always been pretty keen to lead the industry. So to be playing in a field where that's just not an option, and that gives us peace of mind, and also the client peace of mind, is a huge plus for us. So some of the other advantages of the Cabri are the endurance makes a big difference in the paddock. You can whack 170-ish litres in them, so compared to the 100 litres in a 22, you're spending a lot more time in the paddock rather than going back for fuel. The finestron tail, already mentioned there's some differences in flying techniques, but a lot safer, as that's obviously a weak point when you're mustering at low level and close to obstacles and people on horses and bikes. So having that enclosed is a massive advantage. And then the three-bladed system with elastomerics in the head, it takes mast bumping out of the equation, which was one of the first big problems with the 22s. Another great positive that we've had with the Cabri has been Bruno and Raphael and the team over there in France have been super receptive and helping us learn these machines and learn how to operate them in the extreme environment up here. I mean, when they were first designed in France, I don't think they quite envisaged 48 degrees, chasing cows at low level and lots of hovering. And we have had trouble trying to keep them cool when we're not moving forward and getting forward airflow. And Raphael and the team have been straight on to finding solutions to that. So they're actually just coming out with a second oil cooler for them, which will solve that issue. They've done testing at the factory and seem to think will be good for all the temperatures we experience. So just having that receptiveness and responsiveness from the factory is something we haven't experienced for a long time for a team that are obviously trying to do the right thing by their clients and make their product better. It's been really good. We've been backed by McLaughlin's Pastoral to bring the Cabris in, and that's a risk for them as much as it is for us. Cattle respond differently to three-bladed helicopters when they're used to operating with two-bladed helicopters and the noise they make, as that's predominantly what cattle react to, is the noise and nothing else. McLaughlin Pastoral have been great at backing us into that change and appreciating the accountability of ours and everything getting done properly. That's been really good to see.
I think, yeah, the challenges are certainly there with stubborn cattle. It's all about the mind game, I think. It's a bit of a puzzle, this mustering. It's pressure and release, and you've got to learn to give when the time's right and put the pressure on when the time's right as well.
A lot of times in that it won't work. You've got to realise too that you won't win every battle and know when to give up. Once you've been doing it for a while, you can see it. You can see it in their attitude, the way they hold their head and their ears and look at you and give you the middle hoof and keep going. And sometimes it is just from too much pressure. Too much pressure will stress an animal out. And if you leave that animal there and come back later on, then quite often they'll do the right thing and go with you.
You want to try and make it as low stress as possible. That means starting from a bit further away and working in, especially if you're moving cattle off for water, letting everything stand up. You know, taking them steady, otherwise you've got calves dropping behind and cattle going everywhere. I think you got to understand that you can't physically move them.
Sometimes for sure people on the ground will, it's a different medium for the cattle. So you get certain cattle like here, they're used to the horses and the helicopters now as well. But if they're used to horses and you turn up on a motorbike, then that'll freak them out and they won't like it at all. So also works the other way, if they're used to motorbikes, you turn up on a horse and they'll freak out as well. Not all animals will run away all the time. If they're happy, and cattle here are, they get into the yards, they're out the next day, they're treated well in the yards, they're all happy to go into the yards. Bigger musters like we watched this morning, we're in a paddock about 400 square kilometres. There's still a lot of undeveloped country up here and there's development going on all the time. There are all new fences around that paddock and they'll get smaller again. But in 400 square k's, having 3 machines is a must to do justice to the paddock and the cattle that are out there. Because if you muster them poorly and they learn they can get away, it will become a habit. Later on, when they get a bit smaller, they will be able to do the same job with one machine. Take them to the horse when they surround them and they walk them away, and we don't have to do anything. We just go spend our day cruising around looking for the stragglers and pushing them in.
It definitely is hard to, you got to get your eye in for it, for sure. You can pick your camps where you think cattle might be, and you know, if the cattle are moving, whenever you're running your lines back to those cattle, keeping in your mind features of where you last seen them and where you think they'll be next.
Yeah, well, Killarney's 1.2 million acres, I believe, and Wave Hill's 3.1, over double the size. I think they run roughly about the same amount of cattle. Wave's got a lot more desert country there that they're opening up, improving. Here's a lot, you know, touching the edge of the VRD and back up onto the Sturt Plateau. Good breeder country. Every day is different, really. Today took, I think, 4 to 5 hours. Tomorrow could be 12. It really depends on the country you're covering and what that looks like as well, where you've got to take cattle. Might only be bugger all from here to there, but if it's taking them the wrong way, you'll be there all day.
We operate in a very extreme environment up here, particularly this time of year. Currently nice and cool this afternoon, in inverted commas. I'm sweating, it's probably high 30s. As you can see, a bit of cloud cover around. So build up time, it's not uncommon to see 45-degree temperatures, little to no wind, often fluking around from different directions, and quite high density altitude. So it's really challenging flying. Combine that with the fatigue, we're coming into the second round of mustering, or sort of midway through the second round of mustering. So the cumulative fatigue from about east onwards, a lot of these pilots have flown really big hours with very little downtime. So all those things combined, unfortunately, come into what is colloquially known as crash season this time of year. So that's where it's really important to have that machine feeling like it's supporting you. And again, that's what does give me confidence with the Cabri, is it does feel like that it's giving you a lot better chance of dealing with all those challenging factors.
I think I can keep going with it, for sure. I want to keep getting better at this, but you know, eventually I'll want to move into something bigger.